All right, what's going on, y'all? This is Mike Styles, and I'm back with another episode of the Mike Styles Experience. This time I wanted to talk about, or actually, let me ask you this question. Have you ever had one thought or a string of thoughts that just kind of play out over and over in your head? If you do, you're not alone. You see, there's this thing called rumination, and it's where you have these thoughts that repeat themselves, and usually they are sad and dark thoughts. And this obsessive thinking, if left unchecked, it can be dangerous to your mind. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. This dwelling is depressing and draining, where prolonged exposure can lead to you damaging not only your mind, but just the relationships that you have by pushing people away. We ruminate for a lot of different reasons, and it could be because of stress at work or stress at home. And it can happen when you experience some type of emotional or physical trauma, or when you're trying to gain insight into your life or a problem. So again, there are many reasons that we kind of fall into this trap of rumination. For me, I believe that a lot of my stressors come from work. When I sat down and kind of looked at my situation, I found that my expectations, for my work, my job, what I thought about it, I was putting too much into it. I had too many expectations, and I was putting too much value on something that wasn't or isn't going to be beneficial to me in the grand scheme of things. And what really made me realize this was when my ruminating about work and things started to kind of bleed over into my family and personal life. And I realized that my over-evaluation of these things led to a lot of personal sacrifices, even when they weren't working to my advantage. And see, once you get stuck in this cycle of rumination, it can be hard to get out of it. So what I wanted to tell you is that you can come out of it. It doesn't have to be something that you need to keep going through, and that's why it's important to stop as quickly as you can and kind of put a halt to it. And this is going to be something that's going to prevent the ruminating from growing more intense as time goes on. The less the momentum is, the better you'll be able to kind of stop it in its tracks. But how do we keep these obsessive thoughts from running and just ruining our minds? And I think it all starts with a plan, and not just any plan. You have to plan to act. That's my thoughts about everything. Action is everything. Take that same repeating negative thought and make an action plan that'll help you to address the ruminating. Break out a piece of paper, a pen, and just write down the thoughts that you're having. Be detailed and specific as possible. Make a note of the realistic expectations and the steps that you need to take in order to address the issue. This is going to allow you to disrupt the rumination, and it's going to help you to purge that negative thought or thoughts out your mind. So once you develop the plan, the next thing you need to do is take action. And when I say take action, I'm talking about moving forward and doing something besides just having that piece of paper with your thoughts on it. The plan is there to be a reference. It's there to act as a guide that's supposed to show if you're making progress. You take one step towards addressing the situation, move forward with each step slowly and in increments. This is going to allow you to put your mind at ease regardless of what issues you might have. Then the next thing is, I always talk about this on a lot of other episodes about, your thoughts and minds and how they play tricks on us. Our minds, kind of trick us sometimes. And it puts you in that stage where, you play things out over and over. And what I found to be crazy is that most of the things that we kind of play out over in our heads, just not that important. These things, they don't bring us value. So we have to be able to kind of put these repetitive thoughts in perspective, question your thoughts, think about how troubling a thought is. But then at the same time, you got to think about it not being as accurate as you would like to believe. And then what you'll find is that the thoughts that you're having, they don't make sense. And I know how difficult it can be to want to have things make sense all the time. And we just need to understand that not everything's going to make sense, at least not immediately. So again, question your thoughts to see if they kind of line up in the making sense department. And if you need to, just put it down and come back to it later. Now, speaking of putting something down and coming back to it later, you gotta kind of find a distraction. And me personally, I can't believe I'm saying that, but that's because I don't like being distracted. And the reason for that is because I believe that distractions kind of lead us into inaction. But I figured I just had to kind of work that in because having a healthy distraction can stop you from ruminating. Find something that's going to break you through that cycle. Find you something else to do, like read a book, draw, take a walk, work on a project, call friends or family. Now with the calling friends and family thing, you got to understand or be able to not allow the conversation to turn towards those ruminating thoughts. Don't even bring it up, and just try to steer the conversation towards something that's a little bit more positive, I guess. And like I said, just look for the positives. Talk about something where you're talking about your life and your goals and how everything is going. Now, there are going to be many times where you get this idea of perfection in your head. You start to think about the goals, and you're going to think about your realistic goals, and you're going to think about a lot of unrealistic shit too in between. And that kind of leads us into rumination. When we expect perfection and we set unrealistic goals, the mind starts to wonder. We wonder why we haven't reached the goal or what we should have done to kind of make that goal more achievable, more obtainable. And the more we wonder, the deeper we fall into the grips of rumination. Because in a perfect world, we're not supposed to make adjustments, right? Wrong. So make adjustments, make adjustments and it kind of, set yourself up to where you can recalibrate your life goals. We also get to recalibrate our thought process and it's something that we might have to do like a lot. It's just not a one and done type of thing, but it also reduces the risk of overthinking our own actions. And that's something I think we all do from time to time, is that we overthink and overcomplicate a lot of shit. Don't be afraid to make slight adjustments where they need it. Don't sit there and constantly just put these thoughts on repeat, especially when something's not working. And this next one, I think, is one of my biggest kind of issues, something that I struggle with a little bit in my life, which is the confidence and self-esteem type of thing. And although you can't see it, most of my struggles go on within my mind and behind closed doors, and lack of self-esteem and confidence is what leads a lot of people to ruminate. And as the rumination increases, we soon find ourselves not able to fully cope, which drives our self-confidence further into the ground. It's important to build, enhance, and maintain self-esteem because we need it to combat the moments where we have these repeating negative thoughts. Work on building your existing strengths. If you don't think you have any, I would encourage you to kind of look deeper and beyond the surface of yourself to find it. It's in there. We all got it. And then once you find it, use that as a motivator to kind of pull you out of that cycle of rumination. You'll be better able to control rumination when your self-esteem isn't in the dumps. So that's it, man. Hopefully this helps you out somewhere And I know how difficult it can be when our thoughts, keep repeating themselves. And like I said, a lot of times they just don't make sense. I believe it's possible to stop these thoughts, but we just got to be proactive about doing it. Be proactive about taking the steps and preventing yourself from ruminating. Combine being proactive with a little bit of awareness. I think that goes kind of like a long way in freeing ourselves from rumination. It's a process, just like with everything else in life. So, yeah, that's been it. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the podcast. Actually, subscribe, share, download. The podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcast, I think Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, iTunes. And until next time, I guess I'll see you guys on the next video / audio, the next podcast. Take it easy.